on the Newman Jets Audio Network. This is the JetCast, the official podcast of Newman University Athletics, featuring exclusive interviews with coaches, players, administrators, and more. The JetCast podcast is brought to you by South Central Ceiling and Paving, online at SCSEALING.com. Mel Hambledon Ford, Pepsi, Eck Agency, Donlinger Construction, Big Corner Creative, Dr. Brennan Lucas and Advanced Orthopedic Associates, Keystone Solid Surfaces, and by Overland Charters, the official transportation provider of Newman University Athletics. Here's the voice of the Newman Jets, Blake Cripps.
The Newman women's basketball team returns to Fugate Gymnasium tonight to host Emporia State. Both squads looking to post their first MIAA win of the season. Doubleheader coverage begins at 5:15 tonight on the Newman Jets Audio Network. So for the second week in a row, we are pre-gaming with you early here on the JetCast. This is episode number 53, and we are joined, of course, by Coach Drew of women's basketball. To tip off the show, Coach, welcome back to the JetCast.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Obviously, last week, kind of a mixed bag. 38-point loss early in the week to Pittsburgh State. You put that in the rear view. You go to Missouri Southern. You get down big just before halftime. You put together an 11-2 run. You score the last 7 points of the half over 85 seconds. And you get within one multiple times in the fourth. Cannot quite close the deal in Joplin. What's your main takeaway from last week's road trip to southeastern Kansas and southwestern Missouri?
Yeah, I just think right now we were a team that needed to make sure that we were buying into our identity and finding our identity. And I think the preseason can kind of be that for everybody, with the new staff, learning all the players. I think it took us a little bit of extra time. I think we were really able to identify that. And I think the Pittsburgh State loss was a direct indication of, the coaching staff tried to get away from our identity and then got back to it for Missouri Southern, and were able to really battle.
You were down by 17 with 3 to go in that first half. You cut it to 8 at halftime. And I mentioned on our play-by-play at the time, I said, boy, you get this to 8, you're going to feel, even though you're still down by 8 points at the half. So, in a vacuum, you say that's not a good first half. Say, boy, you get this to 8, it's going to feel really, really good. What allowed you in that last 3 minutes to just kind of put together that 11-2 run?
Yeah, I just thought it was defense and a competitiveness. We've been really, really harping on how competitive are you willing to be? How hard are you willing to fight? When there's adversity, are you willing to continue to battle and fight through it? And to me, that Missouri Southern game was the first moment this season in practice or in games where you've hit adversity and instead of dropping a little bit, you fought harder. And so, get a couple stops, have a couple shots go in. Chris Beck cans a 3 in the corner at the buzzer, and you're right back within striking distance.
How does it feel as a coach? Because, by the way, this all came after a timeout. It was the second timeout of the half called by Coach Drew and the Newman coaching staff. How does it feel when you call a big timeout like that? I couldn't hear the conversation, but I could hear the conversation over there, if you know what I mean. You were not pleased with the last few moments leading up to that, and the girls really responded. How does that make you feel as a coach when that happens?
Well, I think it's the starting signs of just buy-in. And we've been saying, blind faith. Like, it may not have worked out against Pitt, but blind faith, we're going to get this figured out. We're going to get this improved. You basically in that timeout, you're challenging, are you the type of competitors that we talk about being all the time? And if you're not, it isn't going to go very well. And if you are, you still got a chance. There's a ton of time left, but you're going to have to compete right now. And, from that moment on, they competed in the half, and then they believed in themselves and walked out of the locker room for the second half with a feeling like they could compete.
And then they absolutely did. Coming up on the show today, we have got Amoni White to join us, and she has been a fantastic member of this women's basketball team, leading the team in steals, and she's put back-to-back season highs together offensively for the Jets. So she's coming up next segment, and then we'll be joined by a freshman wrestler from Goddard, Jace Fisher. He'll be joining us to wrap up the show. This is our last JetCast of the 2021 calendar year, but we will be back after the New Year holiday with more JetCast. So the last one that we've got for you this calendar year. And by the way, it is Christmas Spirit Night at the gym tonight. Once again, we're getting set for women's basketball against Emporia State, and the Emporia State men are also going to be there. So wear your ugly Christmas sweaters. If you've got a Santa hat, if you want to, come dressed in Christmas lights. It doesn't matter. Bring the whole family. But there will be prizes for the best Christmas spirit. And I understand it's going to be a game time decision, but a possible ugly Christmas sweater for you at this game.
I like to keep the people on their feet, Blake.
So you better come at 5:30 to see if he ended up choosing the Christmas sweater. I want to get to our next guest, Amoni White, and we've talked a lot about her confidence, building her up. You're going to hear from her in just a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. But putting things together, back-to-back season highs offensively, has had 14 steals to lead your team defensively. So she's kind of doing it both ways. And you've mentioned before that you feel like her best basketball is coming in the future, whether it's in the next few weeks, or maybe even next season as well. What do you think that best version of Amoni White is going to do for this team and this program? Yeah,
I just think it continues to provide depth. It allows us to say somebody else may be having their best night and she plays, in minutes alongside them, or somebody might not be playing as well. She plays in place of them. She's been really starting to answer the call about constant competitiveness and how hard you play. And that's been a challenge that we've kind of set out for her from day one, is we're going to expect your best every second. I think one of the things that she's really kind of bought into is just that you can't have these moments of up and down, and not every second is going to be your best, obviously, but you're giving max effort all the time and doing things the right way. So I want to get into a little bit about Coach Drew. So let's open up the Coach Drew file. How does an all-conference punter at Friends become a head women's basketball coach, take a team to the NAIA tournament, obviously now here in Newman? How did that transition go from all-conference punter to basketball coach? Yeah, it's probably the short end of the story is I thought I was going to go to Friends and play both and play football and basketball, and I realized pretty quickly that you have to be athletic and guard somebody on the defensive end. So that didn't go well. I give a lot of credit. My high school coach, the last couple of years of my high school career, is Brett Flory. He's the head boys coach at Derby High School right now. So when I got to college and realized, hey, listen, basketball wasn't going to be the playing route that I was going to be able to take, I always tell people I was more talented at football, kicking the football. I punted and kicked and all that, but I loved basketball more, and kind of just half jokingly, Coach Flory had a JV spot, head coaching spot open at Valley Center. I was 18 years old. I was a sophomore. And I said, well, hire me, right? Football season will be over. I want to coach. Hire me. And, right? Well, in the end, he did. And in the end, gave me an opportunity to be at 18 years old to be the head JV boys coach at Valley Center. Spent 2 years there with him. And then when he transitioned to Derby, spent a year at Derby with him. While I was doing my student teaching, that path changed what I wanted to study. I originally went into business administration, got my teaching degree instead, and then kind of knew at that point I really wanted to be a basketball coach and tried to learn as much as I possibly could and be around. And I tell people I'm 30 whatever years old, 32 years old, and I've been coaching basketball at some level or some form since I was 18. And so there's not a lot of 32-year-olds that have 14 years of coaching experience. So and then obviously when Nicole and I met in Clay Center, there was at that point in time a little bit of a vacuum for female basketball players. They were traveling from Manhattan, Clay Center, that kind of north central Kansas area to Wichita or Kansas City to play. Well, those were 2.5 hour drives with practices, weeknights. It didn't really work out, and so we were able to kind of create a team in that area. Got into girls basketball then, and kind of progressed from there. Yeah. What do you think has been the biggest influence on your coaching style? Yeah, I think. I've coached now for a few different people. I feel like I've tried to take away something from everybody that I've coached under. I think one of the things that was always so shocking to me about Coach Floor, even as a high school player, was just the amount of time that he put in. I can remember him we did team dinners and activities after home games, and I can remember he would show up, but then he would go back to the school and start to watch film, and in those days Huddle wasn't breaking down the clips for you, right? And so I can remember driving home from that at midnight or whatever, and his car's in the parking lot at the school. And so, one of the things that I've tried to take away from that is just the amount of hard work and the amount of just caring for people that he kind of showed. And, Nicole and I are in a kind of an interesting world where neither one of us were assistant college coaches for somebody else. So we try to ask people that we believe in and have watched do good stuff, their opinions and things like that, but we're kind of navigating this our own way a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly coming in together, bringing in your own staff together and working together, definitely unlike a lot of other programs as well. And another thing I wanted to ask about, not necessarily the coaching style, but, you're a predominant man-to-man, freedom of offense, motion offense coach. What influenced your coaching philosophies? What made you think, man-to-man's where we want to be instead of, being, running a Jim Boeheim zone defense?
Yeah. Some of it's probably just experiences that you've been in, and also when you're doing it, when Nicole and I are doing it together, it's also the experiences that she's had. They played mostly man-to-man. I played mostly man-to-man as a player. It's probably the base that we knew the most. We take a lot of, when Nicole was at Clay Center, helping with the high school team there as an assistant, they did some kind of unique force baseline, very, very unique to them rotations. And so we've taken a couple of things that we really liked that they were getting from some of those experiences. And then in the end, right, you make it your own and you try to tailor it to the team that you have. And I think allowing great players to play has been something that we have really tried to focus on.
One extra player that you had to navigate through on the bus, of course, was Dax, your son.
Yeah, yep.
Got to come on the road trip for the first time. I know you mentioned it was not without its challenges at times, but I know that you really enjoyed having him along on the trip. And looked like he mostly had a ton of fun hanging out with Riley and watching some basketball, watching a couple of movies before coming on the trip, and then going back, watched another movie. So what was that experience like to have your son on the trip for you for the first time?
Yeah, I think those are some experiences that when you're that age, mean so much to you. And, there's going to be 2 years from now, you're going to be in school and you can't miss, and you need to be at the school. And so trying to be able to bring him and Riley Malloy was awesome and did such a good job just kind of when we were at practice or shoot around watching him. And then, we have a really, really, really wholesome, good-hearted team, and so they went out of their way on the bus ride, especially back. Just letting him sit back there and watch the movie with them. And if I know anything about his personality, he talks all the time. So
yes,
they listened to him talk and talked with him. And so it was a really special moment for me. One of the things that I'll take away is we were riding on the bus up there, and he looked out the window, he was eating his lunch, and looked out the window and goes, I feel like a big kid. And I thought that was pretty special. And, again, we're going to, right now, he's the only kid in our life, and in less than a month, that's not the case anymore.
No, I was going to, that next question on my sheet here, got a member coming, so you've got your Bethel baby, and you'll have a Newman newborn here coming up, and you guys will be able to field, I guess, an Olympic 3-on-3 basketball team here in a couple of months. How's Coach Nicole doing, and how's that process been going as you get set to add another member to the clan? Yeah,
it's been good, and Nicole's feeling good, and all that's great. It's been a blessing to be able to get to Wichita, and we moved a couple weeks ago, and so just trying to kind of prepare and do our best to be preparing for that while making sure we're preparing for games. And I'd be lying if I said the crib was set up yet, but it is on the list. So just trying to kind of navigate all that and make sure that we're ready to go and that we as a staff are ready to go when that comes. And just kind of, we'll, take it as it goes.
Yeah,
that's kind of the way we've operated as a program anyway.
Well, I've talked to Coach Nicole a little bit about it. She says you guys kind of have a game plan, not going to be making that last road trip, or at least she won't be. Of course, she can always watch the games on the MIAA network or listen on the Newman Jets audio network.
Right.
Is always an option. But I know that you guys have a plan in place for her, and I know you'll be driving up separately, at least for the Fort Hays State game, so that if there is a need arises for the coach to return quickly after a game, that can happen. Plan with Coach Nicole. How satisfied are you with those game plans that you've got in place? Got to have the on the court game plan, but right now got to have an off the court game plan too.
Yep. We're ready to go, and credit to Nicole. Credit to everybody, I guess, in our lives right now, as we've kind of been able to kind of navigate what the plan's going to be and try to figure it out. And Nicole wants to be at every game and every road trip if she can, but that's not probably realistic here for a little while. And get a couple more under our belt at home, and then we'll see. See how she's feeling and see how the baby's doing, and you hope happy and healthy for everybody, and then we'll get her back sometime at the beginning of the next year.
Well, God bless you guys, and hopefully it does all go well for all parties involved. We'll leave you with this: Emporia State, very talented team, has really struggled defensively for whatever reason, but boy, can they ever score the basketball, and boy, is Treasure Jobe ever going to be a problem. What's the number one thing that you're looking at ahead of tonight's matchup against the Lady Hornets?
Yeah, I just think it's again competitiveness and focusing on what we do, and can we guard ball screens correctly. And if we can guard ball screens well all night, then you at least put yourself in a position to try to limit them. I mean, their defensive stats aren't the best in the country right now, but they also have played Drury and Kearney and Hayes and some really
not
really
exactly a cupcake schedule, as Dick Vitale would say.
Yeah. So I think we're just again, it's going to be about us all year, and can we continue to improve, and can we be competitive and be ready to fight, and Christmas sweater or not, we got to be ready to roll and go from there.
The Christmas spirit night, so come out with your Christmas gear on. It is going to be the Jets and the Hornets, 5:30 tonight, tip-off 5:15 for pregame. Men to follow, of course, Newman Jets Audio Network or the MIAA-network.com/Newman if you can't make it out to the Fugate Gymnasium. But if you can make it to the gate, we'd love to see you here tonight for the action. Second to last home game of the calendar year for Newman men's and women's basketball tonight. Coach, good luck. We'll talk to you after the game.
Thank you so much.
And we'll talk to Amoni White after you watch this.
Life. It throws you curves and it knocks you down. But what separates the good from the great is the getting back up. Newman University will always get back up. We are a university of doers, of innovators, of transformers. We inspire as we soar to new heights. We will not be beaten. We will not settle for anything less than the best. We are Newman University.
Where can you land the best Jet swag? The official online store of Newman University Athletics, NUJetsgear.com. The store features the greatest variety of Jets logo gear anywhere, from the latest clothing styles and hats to Newman branded lawn chairs and office supplies and more. NUJetsgear.com is your place to purchase sports-specific, alumni, parents, and hard-to-find Newman merchandise. Shop right now on your computer or phone, NUJetsgear.com, or click the Shop Now button at NewmanJets.com.
Welcome back to the JetCast. Again, an early edition as the Jets are in action tonight playing Emporia State. It is Christmas Spirit Night, so if you've got your ugly sweaters, maybe some stockings, some Santa costumes you want to wear, come on out. There will be prizes given away at the end of the night for those with the best Christmas spirit at the game tonight as the Jets are hosting Emporia State. Both of these teams looking for their first win in the MIAA. If the Jets can pick it up tonight, one big reason why might be this junior from St. Louis, Missouri to my right here, Amoni White, averaging 6 points per game and leading the team with 14 steals coming in to tonight's action. A junior from St. Louis, Missouri, Amoni White, with, I believe, her first ever appearance on the JetCast. Thank you so much for being here, Amoni.
Thank you.
Back-to-back season highs for you offensively. You scored 8 against Pittsburgh State. You came back with your first double-digit scoring day of the year at Southern. What do you feel like is clicking for you offensively right now?
I think I'm just getting to know my teammates better. We're beginning to work better on the floor with each other. And, all of the practices, all of the hard work, all of the sweat and tears are flowing together.
It seems like I've asked a lot of people on your team. I asked Elise. That was something that Faith said, and they've always said, "Oh, well, the reason that I played so well is because of my teammates." How would you rate the camaraderie and the chemistry on this team? It really seems like you guys all really are pulling for each other and want each other to do well and want to be a part of your teammates' success in a big way.
Well, like Drew said, the only way that we can get better is by using each other, pushing each other in practice, and really not letting up on each other. That's really the only way, making sure we pick each other up when we're down. So it's not really an individual thing. It's like a reflection of what my team helped.
You're not shooting a ton of threes this year, but you're at your best percentage. You're 2 of 6 on the year. How much have you been working on adding the three-point shot to your repertoire offensively?
Well, I am a dominant driver, so sometimes defenders sag on me. So I've just been getting in the gym, shooting, just wearing the gun out with my teammates.
And Coach Drew has said many times that they want to build up your confidence, and certainly you've been playing confidently these last 2 games. How do you feel like your own self-confidence has kind of evolved as you've matured as a basketball player? I mean, I get that it's a hard thing to figure out when you're coming in, especially at the time that you came in. There were a lot of established players on this team, but at this point, you're becoming one of the established players on this team. How does that make you feel?
I'm kind of being a junior, we need like established players or like people that can step up whenever we need. But I mean, I've been working over the years. My team has been helping me develop myself because I've came a long way since the freshman year.
You have. And how much of that adjustment has had to come this year with learning a brand new system, both offensively and defensively? How much have you had to grow from that?
Definitely different from when we played or how I played the last year. We played more man this year than probably the past 2 years combined. So it's just working and just repping that so we can just do it with our eyes closed.
Pittsburgh State, you guys did not play well in that game. Against Missouri Southern, obviously, you came in and didn't have a bad start to that game, but the first 15 minutes or so, they were clearly the better team. You put a move on Lacey Stokes and broke her ankles. I thought really was the big catalyst for the momentum that you guys had. First of all, what did you see on that play?
Well, again, I think people know that I'm a dominant right, so she was taking that away. She was also jumping the gap, so I was just going. I wasn't thinking.
I mean, they say sometimes your best play comes when you're not trying to overthink it. How good did it feel to come back from a 38-point loss and come back from 17 down with 3 minutes to play in the half and make it a 1-point game several times and be right there at the end there in the Missouri Southern game?
It honestly felt really good. Even though we didn't come up with the win, it was still like like you can tell our progress with the team, our chemistry coming more together, and us just using whatever we learned from practice and implementing it into the game.
So one thing that I have to ask, there were at the Leggett and Platt Athletic Center, it's also used as an indoor track for Missouri Southern, and they have some hurdles set up there for the track and field team to use for practice. And there were some girls, they were talking about the hurdles and doing some of the hurdle drills there during pregame. And somebody asked you if you would ever run track, and you said no. I was shocked because you're so fast. How did a high school coach at whatever high school you went to in St. Louis, how did they not get you out for track?
Well, they tried to, but
why not? I realize that basketball is way more fun than track, but you're so fast. I have to imagine you would have won several medals.
Although basketball is like a running sport, I kind of view it now after so many years as like a consequence.
That's a great answer. I mean, that's kind of how I felt when I played basketball. But, we don't think about that. Obviously, when a big guy like me is out there, yeah, obviously I don't like to run, play half court all day. But, you're so good at running and you're so quick and zippy from point A to point B. I'm surprised. Have you always disliked running? Has that always been a thing?
No.
No, but it is now.
Yes.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Another thing that we need to talk about is, we talk about primarily on the JetCast, the games, wins, losses, how you're doing, your development on the court as a player. Mm-hmm. But you are student athletes, and the student is the first part of that word. I know that's a huge cliche, but this is finals week. So how are the tests going? How's the studying going here as you can try to navigate and take care of your academic responsibilities this week?
I have 2 finals on the same day, about an hour apart, and I'm wrecking my brain trying to stay up and study and just make sure I know everything.
What's your major?
Biology.
Biology. Okay. Well, I hear there's some money in that field. So, yeah, probably not the easiest classes for you to be studying for. So, best of luck on the tests. Final question. Obviously, you don't want to just pass the test. You want to pass the test on the court as well. What are the things that you're looking forward to in this Emporia State game, coming in with the top offense in the league and the last-ranked defense in the league? So, another opportunity to get that first MIAA win this week.
Well, I know we have to stop one of their main offenders.
The Treasure Joe.
Yeah. That's going to be a key. We just need to communicate more on the floor and just get out. And we really need to punch first. That's what we sometimes struggle with in our energy beginning of the game. But once we get that together, it's probably over. So
the message was received because Coach Drew behind the camera nodded his head up and down. So, yes, punch first. We'll see if the Jets can get that done again tonight against Emporia State. As you are watching this, come on out for the game, 5:30 for the doubleheader. You can watch the game on the MIAA Network, themiaanetwork.com/Newman. Of course, listen on the Newman Jets Audio Network on your mobile device with the Newman app or at newmanjets.com/listen. Pre-game coverage at 5:15. Women tip off at 5:30. Men to follow all tonight here at Fugate Gymnasium, Newman Jets Audio Network, or the MIAA Network if you can't make it out here to Fugate Gymnasium tonight. Amoni White, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more of our JetCast in a moment. We'll be talking wrestling when we return. Wrapping up the calendar year on the JetCast, going back to wrestling with Jace Fisher, a freshman out of Goddard, Kansas. He took second in his weight class at the Nebraska Kearney Open. NU 0-1 on the season. They are looking to pick up their first dual win on the season with an MIAA matchup coming up on Sunday, 9 a.m. at Fort Hays State. Jace Fisher joining me on the program. Jace, thank you so much. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Reese Wright Conklin Jet Open on Sunday. You did not participate, but how do you feel like the event went for your Jet teammates this past weekend?
It went great. I saw some really good things.
Obviously got a lot of victories. What do you think impressed you the most?
Oh, gosh. I'd say DeAndre Brown. He put on a pretty good show this weekend, making the finals. And then Garrett Lang, I saw some good things out of him too.
Awesome. What do you feel like for you personally, the adjustment's been like going from wrestling on the AVCTL to now wrestling in the MIAA, and how do you feel like that transition is going for you?
It's actually really great. It's been a great transition from high school to college.
What do you think has been the biggest adjustment that you've had to make? Is it preparation? Is it on game day?
Not too much, really. There hasn't been too much of a difference, really. First competition, I wasn't too nervous. It went great.
Okay, so it's been, do you think, an easy transition for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty easy.
What made the decision for you to want to stay home, represent the Navy and Red? Obviously, for some kids, they want to, go and get, got to get away from home. Obviously, you didn't choose to do that. Obviously, some family around, as Coach Fisher is the cousin to you, so that had to make the choice a little bit easier, didn't it?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest reason. Relationships with the coaches, Coach Smith and Fisher. I've had a great relationship with him over the years, and that made the transition pretty easy.
What is it like to be coached by Coach Fisher?
It's awesome. I love it.
One interesting thing is Coach Fisher's been here for like 4 or 5 years, and he's never been on the JetCast. And you've been here 4 months, and you're already doing the first JetCast. So I think that now we've got to have Coach Fisher come on the show next year, right?
Yep, we have to.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any choice. Also, if you don't mind me saying, it seems like you are the more handsome Fisher of the two. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I definitely agree.
100%. How much time did you spend with Coach Fisher, growing up when you were in, elementary and middle school, high school?
Oh my gosh, a lot of time. I've been in that Newman room a lot growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you always? Did you always want to be a wrestler? Was that something, coming up, being in the coaching room, seeing how things worked out? When did your interest in wrestling start?
Oh my gosh, I've been wrestling since I was 4.
Wow.
My dad put me in the sport early, along with my other 2 brothers, Jaden and Troy. Troy's wrestling up at Northwestern University right now. But wrestling's been a big part of my life since a very young age.
So that's really interesting that he's wrestling for NU and you're wrestling for NU, obviously
Yep.
much different level. How much are you guys able to follow each other's career?
Very closely.
Yeah, so you're watching. And if you guys don't know, wrestling in the Big Ten is a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure how good. Do you know how good Northwestern is? I will admit that my knowledge of Big Ten wrestling, I know Iowa's got a pretty solid program. Iowa State obviously had a great program, especially while Sanderson was there. I don't know if they've fallen off. I don't follow up there in wrestling maybe as much as I should or would like to, but how good is Northwestern? Do you know?
Northwestern's, they have some pretty good studs on the team. They're probably middle of the road Big Ten.
Big Ten's one of the
solid.
Big Ten's in terms of the Power 5 conferences. I know we don't talk about Power 5 conference wrestling. Their Big Ten's a pretty big league, though.
Yeah.
Being top echelon in the Big Ten is no slouch at all. What do you feel like this season, coming in as a freshman, is your strength on the mat in terms of execution, game plan? What's the one thing when you're on the mat in a match that you know that you can rely on to help you score points or win matches?
Probably my mentality. Offensively, I've been pretty confident scoring points. Scoring a lot more points this season.
What is the mentality that you feel like you have that allows you to be so free offensively?
Just being confident. I don't know. I've been feeling very confident.
What do you feel like is something that you need to work on to advance your career to the point that you want it to be?
Specifically, probably my footwork. I've been working specifically on my footwork. It's kind of slow. That's something I need to improve on for sure.
Is that in an offensive way, in a defensive way, or I know a lot of times in wrestling there's scramble opportunities where in basketball I would call it a 50-50 ball. You don't know who's going to get the dominant position, but there's a 50-50 spot where either one guy is going to get it or maybe you break, but which of those situations do you feel like your footwork needs to improve in the most?
I'd say both, offensive and defensive. Really, it ties into both things.
And as we talked about with Amoni, this is finals week, and the academic experience, obviously, at Newman is state-renowned, and that's something that you guys have to focus on as well. How do you feel like the tests have been going so far this week?
Pretty great, yeah.
Yeah?
I've already gotten 2 done.
Okay, so 2 tests already in the books. What are you studying?
I'm studying organizational leadership.
And obviously, you're just a freshman, but so there's plenty of time. Might be something totally different next year. But what do you envision yourself doing with that degree?
Probably doing something in business, management and business. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Well, I hear that there is money to be made in business, so We'll see. Hopefully that will work out. Final thing for you, Fort Hays State on Sunday. It's a duel against the Tigers. I know that sometimes, and some guys really want to know everything that there is to know about their opponent. Want to know, what they had for dinner last night, everything about them. And some guys want to just focus on their own game plan, focus on themselves. Do you know your opponent for Fort Hays State? And if you do, what do you think is going to be the key to beat him?
I'm not too sure who I'm wrestling. I don't really look too much at names or rankings. But
so in that case, since you're focused on yourself, what's one thing that you want to execute well to get the win on Sunday?
Execute my top work more. that's probably my main focus.
Jace Fisher, he is the first Fisher to come, but I will do everything in my power to make sure that he is not the last Fisher on the wrestling team to be on this program. So, Coach Blake, we're coming for you. And, you could just pencil in, I think, February 9th for that show. Just pencil it in because we're going to have you on. So Jace Fisher, freshman from Goddard, on the wrestling team. Once again, they are in action at Fort Hays State, 9 a.m. on Sunday. Best of luck to you and all the Jets on the wrestling team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is our last show for the year. Once again, first week in January, the JetCast will return. And so we will plan to see you then. Hope to see you out tonight for Newman Jets basketball at Fugate Gymnasium, or that you'll join these wrestlers on Sunday at Fort Hays State. So until next year, Blake Cripps in Wichita saying, go Jets.